Hello, greetings, and welcome to the Key Women Educators podcast. I am your host for this episode. My name is Jacqueline Simeon, and I am one of the leadership committee members for Communications and Technology for Delta Kappa Gamma DKG California. I am very excited and honored to be interviewing our first guest ever for Key Women Educators podcast. This is a very special guest, very dear to my heart, because she epitomizes the very essence and definition of what DKG members and DKG women educators do for one another. And this is a strong bond of sisterhood in which, in Delta Kappa Gamma, we promote growth to professional development of personal growth and opportunities. We provide leadership training and guidance at all levels of the career. We love to collaborate and build connections with like-minded professionals. Our organization offers scholarship and opportunities to finance new beginnings. A key support system we have are the friendships and the relationships that we develop through meaningful activities and building lifelong connections. And we have some amazing events throughout the state of California. And they're regular or live events that bring us all together. And to really give some background on our special guest for this first episode, I would not be where I am today without her. It was an educational technology event about 6 years ago in Southern California that I met this special guest. She was a presenter for technology, and I happened to be an attendee who asked so many questions because I have been teaching for about 20 years now, and we were moving into technology in the classrooms with students. And so I asked her so many questions that by the end of the conference, she got my information and later on personally contacted me and really gave me an invitation to supporting DKG California with technology and the first ever DKG California, I would say, Weebly website. So after that, I joined in leadership and really got involved at the state level. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So with a very big welcome, I am going to be interviewing our current president for 2021 to 2023 of DKG California. Her name is Toni Cook.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Toni. Welcome in.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you being our very first guest on our very first Key Women Educators podcast. So very happy to have you here today. This is going to be an interview that we're just going to go through, a lot about your background and education. And so before we get started, I just wanted to share with everyone that this podcast is specifically showcasing key women educators who have general spiritual fellowship. They are helping in advancing others with professional interest and position in their field of education, and they help stimulate the personal and professional growth of other members. And this is part of our purpose, which is for Delta Kappa Gamma. And so, to get started, Toni, if you could please, we're going to get started from the very beginning.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you where you were born and raised.
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. I was born in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and I was raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. My father lived in San Francisco, and my mother had come to the West Coast to work during the World War II, and she met my dad. And then they went back there and stayed with her mother while she was pregnant and when I was teeny. And then they came back here. So I always have to say I was born in Arkansas, but I have not lived there. So.
Oh, wow. And at what age did you leave Arkansas?
Oh, like 6 weeks.
Oh, okay, I see. And do you have any siblings?
I have no siblings from my mom. My dad had a son before me, and I had a half brother, and he passed away about a year and a half ago, I guess. And he was 8 years older. So pretty much I was raised as an only child.
I see. And being the only child, how was it in high school? Did you have what were your plans right out of high school?
Oh, my plans right out of high school were to go to Cal Berkeley and study foreign languages, and I got accepted. And then that summer I got sick and I could not go. And I ended up at community college and actually did not ever go to Cal Berkeley. But that was kind of a good thing because I am a real follower when it comes to crowd influence. And that was at a time when Berkeley was a hotbed of civil unrest. So I think maybe there was a reason why I didn't go there at that time.
Okay, did you still live in the area? Like, did you have to, get housing there and then ended up going to community college in the area?
No, I did. Berkeley's not very far from where I grew up. And so I never got as far. I did. I had a roommate and everything, but I guess, I don't remember the details of that. I just remember that I went to the community college and I was kind of relieved because my friends were all older than I. And I was very tall when I was a child and I skipped a grade. And so when everybody else was 18, I was only 17. And I may not have been ready to take that step to move away and go to school.
Oh, okay. Okay. And while you were in school, what was your undergrad program?
Well, I started out at the community college studying Russian, and then I made it through that 1 year, and so I thought I wanted to study foreign languages, and I kind of wish I had, but I was just, at the time it was called social science, and it was what you took when you wanted to be a teacher.
Oh, okay. So here's a question I'm very interested in. And what has inspired you to become a teacher?
Oh, my mother was a teacher. And of course, I wanted to grow up and do anything that wasn't what my mother wanted to do. But I found that the things that teachers do were the things I liked. And so after I worked at the phone company for 5 years, and 3 of those 5 years I was getting my teaching credential. But I enjoyed working at the phone company, but I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't want to do that forever.
That's great. Sometimes we find out what we want to do by doing things we don't like what we that we're doing.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So when you did that, what credential did you get?
I have I think it's called a Standard Elementary Life Credential, which
Oh, you're so lucky.
I am really lucky. Plus, I have a bilingual cross-cultural credential, which meant that I don't even know if you were teaching during the years when everybody had to get certified. That wasn't. Probably by the time you came into education, everybody already was certified in working with language development. But when my generation was going through, everybody was like, oh my gosh, I have to get past that test and learn how to teach ELD. And so I didn't have to do that because I had the credential. But I loved it, so I wanted to do that stuff.
That's great. No, I was 1 year off. I missed the cutoff. And so I'm the one that has to renew every 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, you've got the lifetime. And is that the B clad that you're talking about?
I guess that's what it would be called now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what did your master's program consist of? Or did you get your credential first and then work and then went back to get a master's?
Yes, I did that. And what happened was when our school got a Title VII grant for bilingual education, and part of that was provision for some of us to get trained to be bilingual educators. So I got to go to Santa Clara University, which is private, and get my master's in a kind of a pilot program. And there were about 30 of us in the program, and our director was wonderful, and they did everything to get us fluent enough in the language to pass, and and to pass rigorous requirements. In fact, I thought after I finished that master's program I wouldn't go back to school again, but I was wrong.
Well, I like getting to know all these, everyone's background, and it's nice to see, because I know where we are now together. I know, we're going to get to where we're at now, but I always like to see like everyone's path, and so I'd like to know what work positions or grade levels or positions in different districts that you have held throughout the years in your career in education.
Okay, it's not big. I was in the same district my entire career. I was the first one in my teacher's student teaching class to get a job. And I probably got one of the lowest paying jobs in the county. But I loved that little district and stayed there that whole time. But I taught, started in 5th grade. That was horrendous. If I had that first year now, I wouldn't have been back for the second.
Oh no.
And then I got moved down and I taught kindergarten. And then I went into different kinds of out of the classroom resource positions, coordinating, that kind of thing. Okay. And then I went to the district and worked with the state and federal projects for the district. And then I went back to the classroom to junior high school teaching, which I thought would be like Siberia or something, but actually I loved it. And then when my final position was principal at the one junior high school in our district. So
that's impressive. So where in all this were you able to, did you have to go and get your administrative credential while you were? Okay.
And so I had a superintendent that would allow me to do a, what do you call it? It was like an intern program where I had a job. When I was this coordinator, then I got to be considered a work day to go and get my credential and then take classes too at the same time. But yes. And then I had a second tier at the administrative, and that one was through Santa Clara University again. And that was a great a great experience because it was taught by superintendents in the field. So it was good. Yeah.
That's a great program. Not all programs are like that let you go during your work hours, your work times.
I was lucky. That was back in a different day when, I didn't have to have a substitute, so that helped.
Nice. And how was your experience working with the community, parents, administration, students? How was all that?
As an administrator, I ended up being on a lot of parent committees, and I think my Delta Kappa Gamma experience helped me as a leader with the community, just being able to practice organizing and leading things. So,
and this what a great segue to lead into the real meat and bones of this interview is what prompted you to join DKG, or how did you get introduced or involved with DKG?
Well, that's pretty easy. My mom was a teacher and my mother was a DKG. And I, as an adult and a teacher, was into everything else in my spare time and did not really think I had time for DKG. So I was a teacher probably 10 years before I joined. And my mother was in a different town. So a woman that I really admired in a neighboring district to mine invited me, and I was just honored. So it took somebody away from, outside of my mom to recognize me. I guess I didn't want to be in there as her daughter. I think we're back.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. And so, yes, the big question is, how did you join DKG?
Okay. And I was telling you about a friend of my mother's who invited me, and she worked in a district near mine, and she was in a very in a leadership position in that district, and I really looked up to her. And so when she invited me, I felt like, well, I guess I can do this. I guess I should be in DKG if she thinks so. So that's how I joined.
Wow. And what do you know what chapter or area your mother's friend was in?
Yeah, Gamma Psi. It's in Area 4 in San Jose, the chapter that I'm in, because I'm still there.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. So she lived near me, and so I could join her chapter because my mother was far away.
Okay, let's say that again for the viewers. You're in what area and what chapter?
Area 4, which is San Jose, Santa Clara Valley, and the peninsula. And I'm in Gamma Psi chapter.
Nice. And so what positions have you held in Delta Kappa Gamma?
A lot. In the chapter, I've been president twice, I think, and then co-president maybe 2 times. And now I'm just retired parliamentarian, I guess. I usually go to the leadership meetings in the chapter. And then I've been area director and been on lots of different committees. Oh, before I was area director, I was co-chair of a convention that was in the San Francisco Marriott. So I know that hotel when we go back there. I remember it very clearly. And they can remodel, but the rooms are pretty much still the same. So, yeah. And after that, convention area director, and then just different committees. And Janice Barr encouraged me, mentored me to apply for a position, elected position. And so I did, and I did not get it. But then she appointed me as her executive secretary, and I got onto the executive committee. And from that point on, I saw that I would like to be able to make DKG move forward. And so that's been my journey for the last few biennia. Not that I thought I was going to be president one day, but just that I thought I was going to be able to work with the team that was making it better and better. So that's kind of how I got here.
And I love that. I'm hearing that a lot with DKG is members inspiring and kind of encouraging other members. And so for our listeners who maybe aren't in DKG but are in education and are looking for some support, or listeners who are thinking about leadership in DKG, what advice can you give to them? Either number one, if they're thinking about DKG, or number two, how has DKG, helped you in your personal and professional life?
Well, first of all, I think the network of people that you meet, whether it's in your chapter and it's people from a different school district or a different school, starts branching you out in a way that's different from professional connections, because you make personal connections too, and you just broaden your base of friends. And I think at every level of leadership, you're going to meet somebody that you're working with, and that's going to just extend your friendships, and that professional connections too, where you might meet an administrator from another district, or someone who has a career like yours, and you can plan together and kind of mentor each other, be buddies. So I think DKG's the connections you make personally are probably the most important.
And that's great to know that, that we help support each other, the sisterhood, the relationships, they're priceless. It's not just you're forced to work together at a district, right?
Right.
We're choosing. And in the past, it's kind of been an exclusive invitation. How do you think, or what direction do you think we're going into that with the 21st century and, with brand new educators coming?
I think, I don't, you thought that I got to go to the international convention, but I got the COVID before that, and I did not get to go. However, I was hoping that, some of the membership amendments that they wanted to pass at convention would be a little bit more friendly to attracting new members without having to have an invitation. But I think that the way we meet people and offer our what we have to offer, we tell them about what we have to offer. And then if they choose to want to join, then they are accepted. We bring them in, and I don't see us ever doing anything like saying no to a person. Right. Yes,
it's always been welcoming. Yeah, it's always been welcoming. And I'm so glad that you're, you're healthy and everybody's okay. I'm sorry about that. Not being able to make it to international.
But it happens. So it happened for a reason, I'm sure. So.
Yeah. And so, right now, there are people that are in education that are just starting out. There are people like myself who are still in the classroom, been teaching for 10, 20 years. And then there are educators who have retired. So we've got a big range of, people through
Right.
their journey in education. What is your advice for those who are just starting out? And if they're interested in DKG, what could DKG offer to them?
Well, first of all, they're going to offer mentorship, and that means that we take new educators under our wing, and we may appear in your classroom before school starts, or we may be sending you something for your desk and for your classroom supplies, or we have our chapters reach out to working educators and make their lives happier. Another thing is we offer grants for supplies. We have, or for reading, literacy grants, actually. We have a Learning is for Everyone Life Foundation, which gives grants for literacy. And they're very, very easy applications. Also, Penny Farrell. Penny Farrell was a great educator in the Orange County area, and when she passed away, she wanted her bequest to go for non-members. So these are people in their first few years of teaching who are not members of DKG, who need literature, books for their classroom, software, whatever would enhance their students' ability to read.
Right. That's awesome. And a lot of people don't know that, so we really need to spread the word and get that out. And I do want to say, for people starting out, if they are active on social media, on Facebook, they can follow us at DKG California, which is the acronym DKG and then California, and then they can follow us on Twitter as well, the same, DKG California. So yeah, these resources, and I think sometimes some of the newly starting teachers, student teachers, and brand new teachers may not know of these resources.
Also, there's our newly designed website
and our website, yes,
dkgca.org. And our international site, just dkg.org. So those are two places to learn more about DKG and what we do. If you're the kind of person that enjoys reaching out, we're partners with UNICEF, and we support Schools for Africa, which we're in 17 countries in Africa, and providing everything from books and school buildings to bathrooms and just clean water. So
yes,
something that we contribute to. Also, we bring women from other countries. Well, they come on a Fulbright scholarship, and DKG enhances their stay while they're here by providing for their extracurricular social activities. They have a grant from us that allows them to do things in the community, because if they've come from an underdeveloped country to study here, they don't have a whole lot of spending money to go out and see what's here. So
nice. Yes, very nice. Very nice. And so yeah, there's so many benefits to being involved in DKG. As far as those like myself that's been teaching for 10, 20 years, what is your advice for us for not having teacher burnout, or just like trying to maintain our careers, or going through all these changes? What can we do to have hope?
If you are connected to a DKG chapter, I would hope that attending a meeting where there's a good program or a good time to interact with your other members is uplifting. Even though you're tired after a day of work and you think you may be able to go, you always feel better after you do. So that's one thing that I noticed a lot when I was just about to burn out. But I do know that this past school year has been extremely difficult. And I was just reading, I think in the ACSA, Association of California School Administrators magazine, about mental health for educators. And boy, we don't have enough, we don't have a good enough, what's the word, reputation with the world. Everything gets blamed on the educational system, and the teachers are working as hard as they can and under conditions that are not ideal.
Right.
I think DKG is a place where people can get away from that and just be with other teachers that have similar situations.
Very true, very true. And, we can share experiences. We have the same kind of mindset or with like-minded people. So it's really nice. That support system is like no other. So yes. And then we also have our members who are retired. And so, what are your recommendations or benefits of them continuing to be involved in DKG even into retirement?
Well, I would say that it's a wonderful place to get involved in the leadership of DKG. And for those who were able to go to the International Convention in New Orleans on a week and a half or so ago, I saw so many wonderful travel opportunities, learning opportunities, interest sessions geared toward people, not just being a teacher or being a DKG leader, and speakers that I would hope that retired people, I'm a retired person, and I'm very interested in what's going on in education. So I hope that would be something of interest too for retired people.
Definitely. Yes. And so how are you involved in DKG now? What is your current role?
I'm the president of DKG California.
Woo-hoo!
So
yes!
the members that live in this state, there are about 5,000 of them. And I am from 21 to 23, the president. And I have thoroughly enjoyed this first year and look forward to next year. It's been like a full-time job, and I embrace it. I look forward to communicating with people and getting, moving through the situations that come up and solving problems or helping people solve their own problems, and just having a reason to interact with the members.
Yes, and you have been guiding us through unprecedented, the times that we're in right now, where we have just met back in person for the first time with the pandemic, and then we're moving into technology and all the changes that are happening so fast. You are really guiding us and leading us through these changes, and then people, there's the COVID. So,
I'll tell you that when I began this biennium as president, I thought we were coming out of the pandemic. I had no clue that we would still be dealing with it, and I don't think any of us did. So it's an adventure.
Well, thank you for giving us hope and leading us through this, and really guiding us through these hard times. And so, it was wonderful, seeing everybody again in person after 2 years, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it was nice to be back, to see all our sisters in DKG.
Yes, it
now,
was.
Before we go, are there any last minute events, networks that you want to highlight? I know the Finance Committee has the Money Talk. There's a Leadership Development Network. Are there any?
Yes, I have something.
Sure. Okay.
The Support Team for Emerging Professionals, the STEP Committee, is going to be putting on Teacher Tip Tuesday. And so each month on a given Tuesday, and it's on the calendar, there will be a presentation geared toward working people, and you don't have to be a member to attend. So that'll be coming. Look for it on Facebook. Look for it in the California Connection that comes out in September. And I think the first one is in September. So that'll be on our new website and also sent out to the area directors, and hopefully we can get the word out and get attendance at that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this has been wonderful, and it was so nice to really get to know you and your background. And
I want to
I'm
say
very
something
excited.
about you too.
Oh no, this is for you. This podcast is for you.
Well, I just want to say that you sat in on a session in I don't know where we were in Southern California, a technology session, and you said at the end, you said, "Too bad you don't have an Apple TV." And I thought, you're absolutely right. That lady knows her technology. I want to know her better.
I remember that. I remember talking to you after that. And,
yes.
Yep. And that's how we started our journey with the website.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for considering me as a candidate for an interview. And I hope that somebody listens.
And I am very honored for you to be the first, our first podcast interview for Key Women Educators. So thank you very much, Toni Cook. I'm Jacqueline Simeon. I'm a part of ComTech, and we are signing off.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Once I have the link, bye-bye. I'll send it to you. Thank you.